podcast. It's good to have you. We're on episode 3 of the podcast. So we're definitely going to try to keep kicking this up a notch.
Yeah, don't make that pun.
All right. Oh, yeah. I didn't actually even think about the pun.
Dude, you turned and looked at me. There's no way that you...
No, I didn't even think about that. So now that actually makes it kind of funny.
Okay.
So so you used to be a competitor, no longer competitor.
Officially retired.
Officially. So when did you first get into Smash? Like, give us some history where you came from before your retirement.
Man, you want history or you want my competitive history?
Well, here you can give us like a quick general history just to see, how you got into Smash. And, which Smash pulled you in,
Well, when I was a wee lad, way back in the day, I would play 64 with one of my kids in the neighborhood who got video games. I didn't get video games. So we'd play that a bunch. I just played Kirby because Kirby was so broken in that game, clearly. I knew everything about that game. And then went on to Melee, and I'd only play at a friend's house. And I really remember the first time I was going to just be like, you know what, I want to be really good at this game. We had an in-school tournament, and I went up against my best friend. And still to this day, I've not played a closer game with anyone and felt so tense. And we went to game 3, last stock, blah, blah, blah. And I took him out. It wasn't for any money or anything, but it felt champion.
Bragging rights.
Yeah, exactly. And it totally went to my head.
As it does for everyone.
For a lot of people, yeah.
Especially when you're young.
Oh yeah. No, I was young kick at the time. I was young kick for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a long patch of history that was young kick. Still young kick. I go and start working at Nintendo and immediately get spanked by literally nobody's in there. And so I have no idea how to play this game.
So when did you start playing or working at Nintendo?
I started when I was 20, and I got the job through some really strange means. But I started working there mainly because my buddy Eric Compton. Shout outs. I'm gonna try not to just name drop all the time, just because that's how I remember things.
I get you.
But yeah, we were childhood best friends, and he had started working there, and he was so goddamn happy to be working at Nintendo and just freaking out about it. I was like, you know what, let me try this too. So I was around 20. I was coming off of a bunch of different jobs, but I was like, dude, Nintendo, this is gonna be so cool. But yeah, I started working there, and there were, in the break room, they have a Melee machine.
Okay.
And so there were people there who were really, really good, and I remember going in there, and it was people who weren't good that were kicking the hell out of me. I was like, how do I deal with Luigi falling at me? Because he's got down air, and if I shield that, I'm still on my shield. What am I supposed to do? I had no idea of higher concepts. I figured out spot dodging and thought I was God, essentially. And then I got woken up by, not even big boys. And so I quit the game at that point. I was like, oh, God, I suck. And then, a year or so later, I come back and I start looking at it and I start watching these guys and they're pretty dang good. Man, I kind of want to play this game like this. And I play against them a few times, and then I picked up wave dashing and won one free for all by wave dashing back and forward, smashing his Falcon as he came in. And I was like, oh, I shouldn't feel good about that because it was a free for all, but God, it felt so good.
Yeah.
And so after that, I just talked to Tyler Stevens. Once again, try not to, but he taught me how to play competitively, really. I just talked to him. I was like, dude, I want to learn how to play this game. And he's like, okay, here's how you do it. And he just started teaching me wave dash and simple mechanics. Found out that what is it? I haven't talked about shuffling, because I never we don't talk about shuffling when you get up to a certain point. It's that's just a thing you do.
Now, was this in what game? Was this in Melee?
This was still Melee.
And now, what character did you play in Melee? Were you playing Bowser?
God, I kind of wish. No, but I was playing Mario.
Okay.
Young Kick was he was a huge Mario dude.
Okay. Just trying to get some context.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, because it's did you really start the Legend as Bowser? And it's no, I had taste. Yeah, so Mario was really fun. And I was working with him because he just his movement started feeling good. And so I didn't really go to tournaments at that point. I think I'm trying to remember the first actual tournament I went to. I know it was a Game Clux. I want to say it was a Game Clux, yeah. And actually, this was for PM. Yeah, because after this point, like,
how long
I started
ago
learning
was that?
these things. How long ago was that?
Yeah.
God damn, dude, I don't remember. I'm trying to think. The first tournament was like 2014, 2013. I
So it was like
remember
3-4
exactly.
years ago?
Yeah.
It was just about when we were entering the scene.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. Because my first tournament match ever, when I was playing PM, was against this short-haired kid playing Donkey Kong, and he would always grab me, and he would use the cargo throw forward, it'd like jump up forward, and then he'd go for the forward air, but he'd always miss because I was playing Mario and I just DI correctly, and I did some really stupid shit. I messed up on some tech and he was recovering and we were falling at each other, and I was just like, dude, this is wild, but maybe I should forward. And I got him with like a forward air, and I felt really, really good about it. And I was like, dude, that was a really good game. That was really, really close. I ended up winning. I think it was game 3. And I was like, dude, if you've gotten your like throw combos together. He's like, yeah, dude, I guess I didn't know that Mario just doesn't like go into that stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, that was good. What's your tag again? Chevy. Chevy was my first tournament match, man. It was like, it was so long ago. He looks nothing like he does now. Like, absolutely nothing.
I remember early Chevy. We still have, I think I could probably pull up a picture of him on our website.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an early Chevy picture. Or maybe it's on the server. I won't bother with you that, but so that was your first match.
That was my first tournament match. I went up against Chevy in his DK days.
Man, it seems like a lot of people have had their first experiences with Chevy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, dude. The dude's been around for a super long time. Well, I shouldn't say a super long time, but like he's so mobile within the PM community, and you see him a lot more than like most of our other players. I would say like Tyler gets similar exposure because he's all over net play. He's always playing net play. I think I hear about him the most when I hear about net play. Though I heard from Chevy that apparently Chevy was #1 on net play at a certain point.
I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to ask him.
Yeah, he said so in the Discord chat, so it's definitely true.
Oh yes, because anything you hear on the internet,
yeah, that's got to be it. Yeah,
it's got to be true.
Well, back to the Melee days. I actually met some pretty interesting people there. There was the big boy Tyler, nice guy. I can't remember what like tag he'll use. I guess it's just Tyler. He was saying, because I'd always ask about it. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen videos of him. He was a Washington dude. Met him at Nintendo. He's stupid good. If he played, he would crush PR. He would be like 5 easy, no problem. Zeddy, he would crush you. Like, no offense, Zeddy, but like he is so good at this game. Yeah, I would love to see him fight Zeddy, just because that match would be so entertaining. Not in the sense of like, oh, it'd be so entertaining because he'd be crushed. I'm like thinking about it now. I'm like, you know what? Actually, that would be such a good fucking match. I would love to watch that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like he had such a crazy Falcon, and he played so many good characters, or I should say, characters well. And he was really good with like top 6 characters, and like you'd always show me different things about him. Whatever new characters came out on PM, I was always like, oh, that's my new main, because that's like the kind of dude I was at the time. Like Mewtwo came out, and I was like, dude, let's play. I'm gonna play Hello Mewtwo, and Mewtwo's gonna be my boy.
And it always whoever learns those new characters earlier and really puts some serious time into them, they always get that early advantage because the character becomes so new that the way
matchups are just unknown.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you know how to abuse the character a certain way, you could take advantage of that, and for a while you'll be the bane of everyone's existence until everyone essentially catches up with the metagame.
Yeah, and then you get to play the adjustment, and so like you can always like keep it edge, but there's usually a certain point with like, no matter how good you get, you're not going to be like top dogs. Like, they're going to figure you out. Yeah, and they'll just do it with their character. It doesn't matter. Like, mentality does so much for this game.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, it's pretty much just a matter of time. So, like, I don't know. That's why, like, losing a game doesn't really... It shouldn't matter as much to a lot of players. And, like, you watch it for top players, and, like, it hurts. It hurts from time to time. But they understand. And they're like, it's part of the game. And you know what? There's going to be another tournament. And
a lot of those top players, they've been in the game long enough where this is early Chevy.
Yeah, the early Chevy. Oh my God. That's him. I sat down next to him. I had no idea who he was at the time. I was so new to it.
He looked like he was clean shaven. He looked like He looked like a human being back then. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I don't want to dog on Chevy.
I remember that. I remember. That's how you describe me when you look at my driver's license. Because it's like short hair with the hell.
It's just a phrase I use a lot because my dad used to tell that to me all the time. Yeah. Like up to a few hours ago, I had a very scraggly beard, as you may have remembered yesterday.
A little bit.
And a lot more facial hair, and my hair was longer. I got a haircut and got all that taken care of.
Yeah. I remember your hair being longer. I'm like super bad at like saying anything about haircuts because I'm like, oh, did that already happen? I'm not sure. So if you like say it as if it was new.
I don't care.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, it's not one of those things I try to.
Well, good. I feel way better about it then.
So going back to the Melee days, you meet Chevy, you're in the Game Clux days, you're playing Mario. Was there any kind of significant moments back then, or any people that you looked up to? Anyone, anything that? And then at the same token, how'd you get into PM, and eventually how did you switch to that Bowser main? The
Bowser, yeah. So the other quick shout outs, I guess, to the people that I remember from the early days was Caped. If you remember Caped, Jeremiah. He started
Is he in Japan now?
No, he's not in Japan. He's in Florida. Okay. He's got a wife. He's got a kid, man. He's got a different life.
Okay, I remember him.
Yeah. He's super good. Never seen a new player like adapt so quickly. Like, and that like adaptation is like its own specific stat, and like God, he was so good at it. He was also a Mario player, and so we would like trade Mario notes all the time. But then Dan, Mr. Apples,
who Dan also Loesch, left
Dan
us.
Yes, he has gone back to his homeland. But
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing him sometime soon, but like we might be seeing him sometime soon. Which would be super dope. Oh my God, I'd lose my mind. I'd probably cry. Not going to lie. I'd cry. But yeah, ran into him at Nintendo as well. It was really weird. I was actually introduced through when I was hired on at Nintendo. I met this girl named Kaylee, who's super fun, super awesome. I don't get to see her too much anymore. But she came to one of the house parties that me and my ex had, and she brought her boyfriend. She was like, is it okay if I bring a boyfriend? He plays Smash Bros. Too. I'm like, fuck you, bring this man in here.
Sure.
And that was Dan. It was Apples. He comes in the door, and he's like, hey, are you the Smash guy? And I'm like, yeah, get on in here. And then he beat me in my own house. I was so upset. I was so upset by that experience. I was just
How bad was it?
It was pretty bad. Like, I think he three-stocked me in game one, and I was like, oh my God, this guy could play. Like,
So how'd you take it?
Immediately felt outclassed. I was like interested. I was like, wow, you're really good. Like, I don't really know how to respond right now. I was still a young kick, and like my ego was extremely fragile, and especially in front of girls. I was like, of course, this is my house, my girlfriend. You can't do this. Yeah, but like ran into him there. But that was after I started playing PM. And how I got into PM really quick. Oh my God, killing yourself like that. Sorry, we're watching Bigger Balk right now.
Yes.
And Jfist, Jfist. I guess I don't know how to pronounce his name.
I think it's Jfist. Yeah.
I think it's Jfist too. He just like suicided himself, and it was pretty bad. Anyways. Where was I? I was talking about PM.
Was one of your first PM experiences with Dan?
It was actually it was at Nintendo.
Okay.
Which is even more interesting.
Well, wait, hold on. Wait.
Yeah, I'm starting to think.
Hold on. You know what? Explain this a little.
No, I'm not gonna. Let's just say.
All right. So there's some underground rebels at Nintendo that are playing PM, or are they using it as R&D?
Let me say that. No, they didn't. No,
I just
you have nothing on me.
I just wondered.
I'm starting to think about the implications of that. No, so like, yeah, they knew about it, and so that's how I got introduced to it. I'm just gonna say that, and then I really started like wanting to play it more. I started playing a bunch of different characters. This was also the time that I looked at Bowser because I was like, oh, he has armor frames. Ooh, this is interesting. I can do really dumb stuff with him, and it works out. Haha. Played him a little tiny bit. I was Mario boy. No, I'm going back to Mario. But it was after, like a few contracts at Nintendo that Dan worked at Nintendo for a very short time. And then he left because he hated it. And he had other things to worry about. And he got a job with Caped over at Google, which is, if you know Bebop, he's also in that group. They had all gotten jobs over at Google, and they're like, dude, come to Google, we have a Smash setup. We can play for so long every day. Come join us. And I was like, please. And Aerotech, who hired me on for Nintendo, also hires for Google. So I had connections, and they're like, yeah, so this is like basically a formality. We want to hire you. Just come in so we can put a face to the name. And I was like, oh my God, yes. I did pretty well at Nintendo, which I really honestly can't talk that much about.
That's fine. So then they just basically like, sure,
yeah,
cool.
come on in. Yeah, and so I started working for them, and there, I shit you not, if we were having a really productive day at our work, we could play Smash up to 4 hours.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my God, it was insane. That's where I really started getting into the PM.
So is that how Google works over there? As long as you get your quota of work done?
It used to be. I was working for Niantic at the time, who specifically, they're actually super cool. Pokemon Go. Before they did Pokemon Go, they had a game called Ingress. I'm not sure if Ingress is still going, actually. All I know is they downsized us, and I didn't care anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, they downsized, shipped everything off to a different office, and so we had to, interview for jobs elsewhere.
Of course.
And so me and Dan interviewed, and we got jobs elsewhere.
Man, you sounds like you had a bumpy ride for a while.
Oh, it was all right. The transfer was like instant, and then I got sent to a really cool project. Also can't talk about it, which sucked. Like, dude, I got like cool, kind of interesting jobs, and then it's like, dude, I honestly can't tell you that much. I take my NDAs pretty seriously.
I get that a little bit from time to time with Star Citizen, although it doesn't sound like much. Mm-hmm. Because of how much money I've pledged to the game, and because of my participation in certain beta patches. Sometimes I'll get very early invites or looks at exclusive content
like updates
under NDA, and I can't say anything about it. And or same thing with Battlefield. Like every Battlefield, I always get like the super early alpha. You get NDA'd, and it's like, this game is so good, but I can't tell you anything about it.
Anything. Yeah, I've been on a couple projects like that. Once it's out, though, I can talk about it. So like, I was one of those hot shot testers. All I can tell you is that like, what I want to say, if you look at the Nintendo guide. I actually haven't looked at the Nintendo guide and haven't compared, but I was told on the last day they went around for Mario Kart 7. They're like, hey, we need all your best times. The guide's trying to like put this together. Like, here's a spreadsheet. Everyone put it in. And I was pretty good at that game. I was never good at racing games, but then you test the game. You play 8 hours a day. You get good at it. And yeah, like, I went through and I did all the time trials, and like it's just like funny story to me. It was like one of the dudes who did the time trials. He's like, dude, I haven't seen Corey's name on here. We have like all these stages covered. And then he refreshes the page one morning, and the first level is like my name, my time, and it's like crush the old score by like 4 seconds, which like doesn't sound that much until you start getting into speedrunning. You're like, 4 seconds? 4 seconds? Jeez, how, like, what are you doing? Like, I am so unoptimized. That's got to be it. So he's like, oh, okay, well, there's Corey. And then he refreshed it again a little bit later, and then the first 3 tracks were under my name, and he's like, oh, God, here we go. I made a clean sweep of all 32. I missed 2 of the tracks, and then I talked to one of the guys who had it, and he's like, dude, I kind of want you to have this. And all we talked about was, like, when to use the mushroom. And I was like, oh, here, it actually does this. And, oh, okay, I got
you. So you learned how to have used the mechanic just right on that map. So then
Yeah, you figure out, like, when to use the mushroom. You get 3, and so on the time trials, you either go for, like, 1 huge boost, so you use up all 3, or like 2 on a very specific skip on either lap 2 or lap 3. The advantage of like, I don't know that much about the competitive community for it now, but like when it was coming out, I was working all over that thing. I wanted to be good, but like, I set all the records for all the stages, and then one of the dudes, I shit you not, half an hour before we closed down, last day on the project, one of the dudes who had been in the time trials, like, he ran his level daily, and he worked on that level daily, and he comes back and he's like, dude, I beat your score. I'm sorry, man, you're gonna have to walk away with 31. And I was like, dude, I'm super proud of you for doing that.
But you must have been super
And then I go right back to playing it 10 minutes before the project ends, I come back and I'm like, I got 2 seconds on your score. He's, no. He was kind of heartbroken, but he took it really, really well. Even though it's like, it's not something that you should care that much
it's
about.
It's that competitive spirit.
Yeah, like he'd worked really hard. He was the only one who had a track. And so, yeah, like apparently if you look at the player's guide, you see all my best times.
And which Mario Kart is
Mario
this for?
Kart 7, that's the 3DS one.
We're going to have to look at that one later.
Yeah, dude, it was super fun. We missed a huge bug on it, but that's okay. It got fixed. It got patched.
That's good.
But yeah. So yeah, PM, that's the thing we were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first started it at Nintendo, and then Google was when I really started like picking it up and playing it a whole bunch. And Dan was the one who really started encouraging me to go out to tournaments. I'd gone to like Northwest Majors a little bit beforehand because some of the Nintendo dudes would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And at my first Northwest Majors, it was pretty interesting. Actually, I think it was my second one. It was definitely my second one because I wore like a suit that day. I get called up for my first game. And I hear the tag, and I'm like, that's a weird, stupid tag. I run into the dude. He comes in. He's a pretty cool dude. He's wearing a hat. Sits down next to me. It's like, all right, let's play. And he picks Ivysaur. And I picked Bowser. This is the time where I was like, actually, right before the tournament, I was going to play Mario. And I was like, totally dead set. And then I started playing friendlies against some guys who were really good. And I shat on them with Bowser. Like, legitimately, I started, like, using, like, the down B tech to ledge. And I was like, this is so good. I can just edge guard him, and it kills him so early. Like, this Ness was tearing me apart 4-stocking me, and now I'm 3-stocking him with Bowser. Dude, I think I should go Bowser this tournament. I was feeling really good about it. So I ran into this guy. His Ivysaur hit me once in the first game. Just once. He sweet spotted a forward air, and that was it. That was all he got.
That we know?
Yeah, if you want to get to the end of the story.
All right, continue the story.
No, it's fine.
No,
second game was much better.
Uh-huh.
And then he was like, yeah, all right, you got me. And I was like, was this your first tournament match? He's like, yeah, it was. I was like, dude, you did fine. This is super cool. I'm glad you're coming out for this kind of thing. Ran into him a year later. He improved more so than any player I'd ever seen. Totally put me on tilt the whole time while playing him. I think we went to game 3 like last stock, and it ends. And I was just like, dude, I'm legitimately proud of you. Like, you got so much better. Remind me what your tag is. And it was Llama Juice. It was our good friend Anthony. I was like Anthony's first tournament match. This is super crazy.
That is nuts.
Yeah, it's a little bit like universe stuff going on. I guess I don't know. Dan would definitely say stuff. That. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you run into a lot of really interesting people at tournaments, and like it takes a long time until you recognize like, oh dude, like this is how we met, like way back in the day, and like that's super cool. Sometimes you don't know about like the cool people in your community until you like really start reaching out. And so yeah, Anthony was like the first dude I started reaching out to. Dan had just moved back home. Actually, I am actually getting a little ahead of myself here.
Sure.
Because, so I ran into Anthony. I was working with Dan a whole bunch, and he was like, okay, dude, you got to start coming out to tournaments. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure if my ego can handle it. He's like, dude, you should be coming out to tournaments. Jeremiah's been going to tournaments and actually doing super hot. Like, you should be doing it. So I finally decided to do it, and I don't know, Bebop didn't join us at that time, but Bebop, love that guy. I really wish, his name's Dominic. Really wish, Dominique, sorry, he always corrects me. But like, love that dude. Oh my God, Flip. Sorry,
it's okay.
Watching the bigger back. He was super rad. I wanted him to come to all the tournaments as well. He is like basically inactive though. He's a really solid player. He beat Chief like his first time out. Like, that's pretty crazy. With Link against Sheik, like that matchup sucks, but he did it. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, we were all like gonna start being like a tournament group, but it mostly turned into like me and Dan.
Was it like what with the early formings of ESS and the whole?
Yeah. I think I went to a few of the like after like 20 or so. I think maybe that's when I started going to ESS, and I was still doing Character Crisis. I ran into like so many different people playing different characters. I ran into Shockbound, and I just didn't like his Game & Watch, and he was really quiet. I ran into him while I was playing Mario. He doesn't remember it. I do. I remember it very clearly because that's when I was like, Game & Watch is stupid.
Was he a good Game & Watch?
Yeah, he's a super good Game & Watch, but like I was just frustrated because like I didn't know how to deal with the matchup, and I thought it was pretty good. I figured it out later. And then I ran into Zeddy, I want to say, when I was doing my DK phase, and like I remember taking a game off of him or something. He like flipped up the hood and he was ready to go, man. Like it was a long time ago. That was like a year or two until I like really met Zeddy, but yeah, we ran into each other in a tournament there. So I was going around, man, and I was going around with apples, and we were like just trying to take names. I was trying to figure it out, like what I wanted to do. I went between DK, I went Ness and stuff. Every tournament I'd change my tag. I was one of those guys, like way before. And interestingly enough, how I remember you guys the best, yeah, I'd always change tags. I believe the first tag I went with was ESN, which stood for Eat Shit Nerd. Then I think I moved on to Boatin when I played Squirtle, which stood for Bend Over and Take It Nerd. And then I thought it was really funny. And then there was I'm trying to remember when I was playing Lucas and Ness, which was like even earlier than that. I just went as like boy. And then there was Toasty. I was Toasty for a little bit, but when I really had to figure it out, it was actually at one of the tournaments here at the ePG house. Braden's like, dude, we're actually going to do like rankings and you need a tag. And I was like, no, this week I'm going to be
We're locking you in.
And you're like, no, man, you need to pick a tag. And I was like, dude, what tag am I going to pick? And I'm looking through all the tags on the system in front of me.
Wait, you're just literally looking through what people
looking at them. Yeah, dude. I'm just like, what do other people have? Maybe it'll inspire me. And then I run into Punch and Kick, and I was playing Bowser at the time, and something just clicked in me where I was just like, dude, Bowser doesn't kick. It's kind of silly.
It's like an oxymoron.
Yeah, it's like stupid. Yeah, like why? Just like the moment you think about it,
it doesn't make sense.
And so I was like, I'm sold. I'm going as Kick.
It's the trolly thing to do.
Exactly, yeah. And then I like did decently, and I guess I had to stick with it. And then yeah, whatever. But when I really started getting good and really started like focusing down, so I'd been in like the tournament scene for a while, but not like, ooh, I want to take PR. I didn't even know about like power rankings. I didn't care. I just wanted to like play and get a little bit better. Dan was the one who like knew things, and I think Dan was already on the PR like those months anyways. Mm-hmm. Apple's holding down the 9 spot. And I was just going through some stuff in my life. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a long story, but I was dealing with like a lot of depression and figuring things out. And I was going through a breakup at the time, and I didn't really want to be home. So I started being like, you know what? I'm going to go to a bunch of tournaments. I'm going to get good. I know I can do this. I'm a solid player. My Bowser is like really good. We'll figure it out. And then 3.6 happens, and I am committed. Yeah, like 3.5 Bowser, like people can see it. They're like, oh my God, he has so much armor. He's so good. And then like 3.6 Bowser comes out, and it feels so disappointing and disheartening at first. And so like that's where I was still like, oh man, I kind of want to play these other characters. I'll try out Marth, but I'll just go back to Bowser. Like Bowser was my safe zone. But during this time, I really started. I figured out like down B stuff and going into tech. I had never watched tech videos. I didn't think people had them on Bowser. So I just started like figuring out my own stuff, and I was like, oh, dude. So there's this interesting interaction that I started focusing on. I was playing with that kid, like childhood friend, like literally the best guy I know, Mitch Harris. Oh my God, shout outs to you. Love you, dude. You're not gonna hear this, but whatever. But huge shout outs to him. And he was playing Marth. He's been like my rival as a kid for like all time, and he plays Marth. But I've been like his rival because he finally took a game like years later in life, and he's like, yes, I did it. And I was like, yeah, good job, man. But I'd been like so dead to losing games at this point. I was just like, I'm legitimately happy for you that you got it, but like I'm beyond that.
Losing is not an option anymore.
Yeah, well, no, it's like losing is like,
or is it whatever to you?
Yeah, it's just like that happens all the time. Oh. Like if we play,
I see. You don't get emotional. You don't get emotional over it.
I had lost that like, oh man, it hurts to lose sense a while ago, because like you get used to it as Bowser, and you start like, I stopped focusing on like each individual match and like, oh man, I should have won this, I should have done this, and I started being like, no, my goal is to play better. So if I focus completely on just getting better, it doesn't matter how I do in a match so much as I learn from each interaction.
Right.
That's why, like, right before we started the podcast, I was talking to you about Bladewise. Mm-hmm. Bladewise was, like, Bladewise and Gimpy Fish were the two most important people for me to run into in real life and learn from. And it's like, it's stuff that everyone says, which is crazy. It's stuff everyone says, and like, yeah, dude, you should just do this. And it's like, it's right there. It's really obvious. But sometimes you just like, you're dumb like me, and you need to hear it from the top player, because they put it really simply, because I've said it so many times that they can't they're not going to mess around with words, you know?
Yeah.
With Gimpy, it was like, you can be patient. That's it. Like, that is literally all he had to say, and I learned so much from that, and like, I completely changed my style to be like, oh man, dude, if I don't want to rush you down, I can literally chill on the ledge. That's cool. I can do that. I can just like back off a whole bunch of times. It's fine. And then like from Bladewise, just playing him so much, I learned so much about like combo game and like watching how I play. He never even really talked to me that much whenever we played, but I'd always just like look back at the games and really focus, and like each time he would punish me, it was like totally justified, and I was like, he got me because I messed up here. He got me with the Bladewise, as I call it, when he just runs under you and then charges up smash, and you're like, no, that's gonna hit, and sweet. So I'm like, God, how did you knew, like, you're so far ahead, you knew. Yeah, so like, it's super good. It teaches me a lot. I'm like, okay, he definitely set up for that up smash. He knew I was coming in. I need to not do that anymore.
Because that's, you know, whenever I talk about Bladewise, it's that he just learns you, and he figures out your play style. He figures out your moveset, how you're moving your character, what combos you're trying to pull off, you know, and once he figures you out,
he gets the download, man, and then he just gets crazy on you. Like, oh my God, I remember I took one friendly from him as Bowser, and I was like, dude, I'm feeling pretty dang good. And it was like on the side side screen, over, like, not in the corner, but against the wall, so no one could see, but Bladewise saw, and he just like, he just sat down and pushed his glasses up. He just leaned into it and four-stocked the shit out of me. No, like, it wasn't even, like, it was kind of scary how bad it was of a four-stock. I was like, I swear I had answers for all of these before, but you figured something out. And then it was like, after crushing me and like leaving me in this heap, like, in my chair, like, oh God, I thought I got him. I thought I did something. He was like, yeah, GG's. And he takes off, and I was like, oh, I have so much to learn. And like, yeah, so you start focusing in on that stuff, and I was going through a lot, didn't want to be home, started going to like tons of tournaments and really focusing on like just play better, learn this character better. Why do you even play Bowser, dude? Like, so many times, so many people ask me that question.
Well, people tell me, and it seems to be a topic of debate in the Smash community, particularly in Project M, where they have, you know, the tier lists, and then people are like, well, tier lists are stupid, because if you have like some person who's like godlike with a particular character,
Tony,
they can make the character,
Mr. Gimpy Fish,
they can make a character seem a lot better than they really are, or maybe the character is a lot better than it seems they are, depending on how you play it. And some people just
I'm 100%
have the knowledge
there.
and figure it out.
There's nothing that.
But there is certain
it's
things.
Completely based on the player, because there's nothing that they can personally change. They can't change stats within the game to like better suit them and better suit the character.
Yeah.
It's specifically the player who is behind the controller that untaps that character. So it's completely based on the player itself.
But there is certain limitations, and we all have to agree to that. There are certain limitations with each character, and there is drawbacks, you know, on like how many frames a move takes.
It's like how perfect do you want to be?
Right.
Really? Like you could probably get so good with Kirby and set yourself up for so many good situations if you really started, like, really broke it down. I'm not saying like, oh man, consistently be Armada. I mean, like, go up on stage and knock Armada into losers. Like, I honestly think it could potentially happen. Like, you got the inhale, you got the instant throw, and you can like frame trap them so that they just want to hold down, and you know, it probably doesn't work on them, but
you just need that driver.
Yeah, you need to like learn it, and you need to be 100% inside your opponent's head. Like, that's the most important part, and it's totally the person behind the controller. Character will go as far as the character's like stats and what they can do, but like when us humans play, it's totally based on the player.
Right.
But yeah, I constantly got asked why I play Bowser, and I don't know, like, I kept switching between other characters, and I'd be like, check out the new hot character this week, man. I'm playing Pit, man. My Pit's so filthy. And then I beat Pikmin barely in a Pit Ditto, and I was like, yeah, I'm never playing Pit again, because that was hard. I like kept going back to DK. I really like DK. I had an Ivysaur phase for a little bit.
I remember that.
Yeah, Ivysaur. Dude, I love Ivysaur. I'm totally taking credit for this, Llama. You can't say otherwise. I taught you the synthesis kill tech. I'm just putting that out there.
It's official.
Yeah, I trained you. No, I just mentioned it to him once, and he just like went crazy with it. Like, I guess afterwards, because I hadn't seen him do it before, and I talked about like, oh, dude, here's a super secret crazy thing. When Luigi down throws you, try and synthesis out, because you'll just push him away, and then he can't punish you. And he's like, that doesn't work. And I was like, hang on. And then I got into a game, and like, I think it was game 2. I finally found a moment for it, and I like pushed, and then I took like a weak hit of one of the moves, and I was like, see, it's there. It's there. It's like, you can totally defend yourself with synthesis. And he's like, yeah, whatever. And then I see him like doing crazy stuff, like taking stocks with it, because I also mentioned, I'm like, dude, did you know that synthesis is I'm not sure who told who, but like, we discussed like, dude, synthesis is the only move that kills Jigglypuff from like on stage, because Jigglypuff can't be like moved into, pushed off a platform at all when she has used rest and landed. But synthesis is a
like
wind
a stone.
box.
She just rocks.
No, it's like a specific. It's like a specific like mechanic or change to her mechanic is like literally she'll just get to an edge, but she can't fall off it. Yeah. But she still has her normal traction. But a wind box will push you off. So you just push her across the stage and let her fall. And then if you really want to, you can drop down with her, because they have like
that's so mean.
Similar, and then footstool. And it's just like, I'm just going to make sure, just in case if we were running out of time. You can also go for the meteor, but like she can recover from that. But yeah, I was like talking about that. I was like, legendary, if you ever fight a Jigglypuff main, like you're running the Hungry Box and he messes up on a rest, you push him off and you drop your controller. Like, just let that happen. Let that sit there, because it's like, oh, dude.
That would be so BM. And then what if he recovered? He or she recovered and then killed you while your controller was on the ground.
I don't care. I'd be like,
that would be the ultimate karma. That would be in a.
To be fair, I personally would have secured the stock and then probably walked away. But like, I can see anyone just being like, "Hey, that just happened. What's up?" It's not even like that swaggy, but you just like do that as like disrespect to the character matchup. Like, I love that stuff. But yeah, I had a bunch of different phases. Like, even when I was back in Nintendo, I was like, 2.5 Lucarios, everything, 2.1 Sonic, I'm being Sonic forever. Just because I'd beat people who were better than me in 2-on-1s. And like, just because Sonic had all this totally BS cancel stuff out of his down B. Like, you could charge it forever, you could jump out of it, you could double jump out of that jump, you could air dodge similarly like that. So you could be like charging, and then you just wave dash back.
So when you were switching characters, you know, in this time of character crisis, were you switching because you would find something you liked about a character and you just wanted to learn it more? Or was it that you picked a character and then over time you would find, you know, less success with it, and then you were like, okay, I need to go and switch to a different character, and then go to the next one that's like appealing to you?
It's like a combination of the two, I'd have to say. But you put it really cleanly in that, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty much those two reasons. I'd find a character, I'd really like certain things about the character, like, ooh, this mechanic is cool, ooh, I can set up for this kill, ooh, Puff has rest, I really like that, and I'll play him, but then I'll hit like a glass ceiling where I don't see myself improving that much with this character anymore, and so I'll be like, nah, let me try something else out, like maybe something will be a little bit more fun to me, because like, improving is the fun part to me, like, that is like the main reason that I played. It's just like, I love getting better at this game and being able to do all this crazy stuff. And when I got to Bowser, I never saw that ceiling. Like, that was the whole thing about Bowser.
It was with just a continuous learning curve.
Yeah, I was always like, yeah, Bowser's really bad, but I started like coining this phrase at a certain point, which was like, he's like the original teacher of like video games. So if you played Mario Bros, like, you ran into Bowser a whole bunch of times. You know what? You died a whole bunch of times when you fought that Bowser. Like, an embarrassing amount of times. You're just like, how do I hit jumps? It does, unless you're like one of those, I played it when I was like 12, so I'd already figured out how to jump. Like, I meant like, if that was your introduction into video games, like, Bowser just beats the hell out of you. Like, he's super hard to get around, and you can't figure it out. But you die so many times against that character that you finally figure it out, and you're like, oh, I just have to do this. Oh, there's that moment. Oh, he jumps. I literally just have to wait for the jump, because if I'm running at him, like, I'll run into fire, or he's gonna jump at a random time. I don't know. I just gotta wait for him to take that initiative. And so I started like thinking about it. I was like, dude, it's the original teacher. That's why, like, a lot of I started feeling like the gatekeeper for a little bit, even when Pookie was number 10, because I didn't lose to you unless you were on PR. Like, that it was so rare.
You were in that,
few
like,
and far in between. Yeah, like it was
the honorable mention like area.
Yeah, pretty
quotations.
much. Yeah, but like this was before I had even like really done anything about my rankings, before I cared or even knew about them.
You just were focused on getting better.
Yeah, and so that was like my entire mentality. And dude, I was rigorous with it. I think so I had a Game Cluck Mondays. I was trying to go to UW on Tuesdays. Love UW, by the way. They're super, super good. I had Brackets and Brews on Wednesdays. I had ePG on Thursdays. I had big tournaments on Saturdays. There was Tuck on Fridays, and then I would go to ESS on Sunday. So like literally, if I could, I'd have just a full schedule of Smash, and it was like at least 4 tournaments a week that I'd go to.
How did you fare in the particular or different tournaments? Because I know that there is some cross pollination with some players. They'll go and travel around different tournaments as well. But then there's, because of geographic locations, there is lots of other tournaments who have a dedicated set of players that will come to this tournament.
Like South. Like I think like Puff Main apparently is from South. I can't remember. I just saw him at the Arcadian. Super rad dude. Like I love his Puff.
Saw him yesterday.
Fun. Yeah. But like Puff Main and Blue 2. And I think Master B, because he like lives near Blue 2. And like, yeah, I don't really know that much about a lot of the other regions, just because like it can feel really secluded. You're totally right.
You know, it's weird because I mean I say it all the time, but when I think of Smash and I look at the Seattle corridor, or just like I guess from Tacoma all the way up to almost Vancouver, basically, it's like you got like the Bellingham crew. Yeah. Then you got like Marysville and Everett, kind of in that area, and northern Seattle, kind of mushed together.
Dope ass cruise battle, just all of Washington.
And then you've got Seattle and UW, and UW has a very large group of people, but they, they're all college students. They don't have most of them are dorm kids. They don't have cars. They're not traveling. They don't have
the means to just get to the tournaments in general. Like either it be time or transportation or just like even money.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got East Side, which is like ESS, and then there's a small pocket of people that are up in like northern Redmond area. It's like northeastern Redmond area, and then you have Tacoma, and that's like Tacoma and basically Tukwila. It's basically the south, and so it's like all these different smaller regions, and not all of them will travel to those different areas because of various reasons, whether it be traffic or the particular day. And it's tough because not if we had every single one of them on like Saturday and Sunday, it'd be like ridiculous. And it's nice that they're spread out throughout the week, but it also makes it difficult for certain people to get to certain places, people
we all have different schedules too, and
depending on where you live, like coming to we hear this a lot at ePG, and we that's why we're trying to move, like rearrange stuff. But Thursday, 6 o'clock bracket. It's like basically in the tail end or middle of traffic hour, basically. And so if you're coming in from like North Seattle, unless you're coming in, well aware of what kind of traffic you're dealing with.
We had to prepare when the Google group was going. We would all have to wake up early so we could go. We had a flexible schedule, so we would go in a little bit early and then try and leave. But if we missed it and we were like, I just want to come in late today, because we usually did that, we'd wait the traffic out because it just got so packed up that it's like, dude, we're not going to make it on time for anything important yet. So we got to just bide our time and wait for the tournament at 8 to start.
The singles bracket.
And then you'd lose out on a ton of friendlies and the warm up, and if you know anything about a lot of the top players, super important to get that in at every tournament. Just figure yourself out. But dude, super rigorous schedule. And I got to see a bunch of different play styles, but not as much as I would like to. I learned a bunch of matchups and stuff.
We have a pretty close-knit group up here.
Yeah, which is, it kind of harms us, but then,
hey, we did okay at Bigger Belk. I mean, it's not over, but,
Well, it wasn't
even in the crew battle. We lost against New York, New Jersey, right? But it was only 3 stocks, and apparently they were the favorites to win. And apparently they did win. I think they did win.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I think New York, New Jersey took it.
Yeah, I was streaming out Arcadian yesterday, so I have no idea what happened. Yeah.
So apparently we lost by just 3 stocks, and
I hear Zed Boy did some good work. He evened up the stock count at a certain point, something like that.
I think I don't remember. All I know is that when he met with one of the new player that they rotated out, he hurt Zeddy pretty bad, at least from what I remember.
Oh no!
But for the rest, aside from that and a few other moments where it was just like some silly nonsense, you know.
Dude, it's still going on now.
It was very good.
Yeah, it's still going on now. Maybe Chevy's doing better than we know. We're just watching Top 64, so I'm really not sure.
Yeah, they haven't been updating the bracket. They have like the Smash GG brackets, but they also do link outs to the challenge brackets, which are being updated in real time, it seems like.
Gotcha.
But the Smash GG ones aren't, I guess.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It's probably like
I think they use the Smash GG to set up like the organization like top down, like, and then they use challenge to do the actual work.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
That makes sense.
I don't know, or some third party or someone else is setting up those links. I'm not sure. I see them putting it in the stream. If we were to not full screen this.
Yeah. But I am just enraptured by Anther versus Malachi.
So, at your height of being, as I guess, a competitive player, when did you start, feeling that you've maybe plateaued, or you just started losing interest and you started thinking maybe I'm maybe looking to get out of the competitive scene? When did that start?
Surprisingly,
and how did that start?
So it kind of started with me getting onto PR, which was just like after the rigorous training and like taking some really important games and just having like super fly moments. Like I would go a little bit back and forth with Chevy for a while there. I had one wild night where I actually took out Dan and Punk Panda, so Apples and Punk Panda. It was super. I talked to Tyler about it later because he went to another tournament and he apparently, like, if I remember correctly, he ran into another Bowser, and he was like, "Dude, I just had kind of flashbacks of our last game," and I was like, "Never again." And then he just bodied the hell out of the Bowser. And I'm like, "Good." Like that's the original teacher thing where I'm playing to make myself better, and I want to make you better too. And like every time I play against Hal now, like he's really recognizing, like, dude, I can learn so much from this character every single time I fight him. I learn when my pressure isn't safe. I learn when like I kind of have to back off. Like he learns a lot about his approach and how I'm like, you really don't have to, even as Fox, even if it feels safe, even if Wolf has like all these follow-ups, you really don't have to approach if you don't want to. They're gonna make it hard for you, and you got to know how to move, but you're good. You're gonna be able to figure it out. So I got onto the PR, and it felt really awesome. We had Taylor, Mr. Raw Input. He did the video for it. Like the one time we got like a PR video, and it was super dope.
Is it the one that we posted and then it got flagged on our channel for copyright?
And it went down, unfortunately. That's probably why.
Yeah, we had to go to copyright school and learn how to be copyright free and not steal people's music and do everything the right, correct way. And had
I worry about that a little bit.
A strike on our account for like I think like almost a year, and that wasn't fun, especially considering in the PM build we were still trying to get Tyler to pull some of the music that was flagging our videos.
Yeah.
So like for a while, and I don't know if I should even be saying this, but for some of the earlier videos we do have a lot of copyright notices on them, and so we like they're all demonetized, and we've acknowledged that there's third-party stuff on there, and some of them have even been muted in the past.
Yeah,
but like that's a serious thing, in the early days of YouTube, it was a lot more free, but as soon as the advertisers got on and the music moguls and the MPAA, they got on, they're realizing that people are posting all their music on there and sharing it, and people are using like YouTube to like MP3 downloaders to convert the videos to songs.
I've totally never heard of
exactly. I don't know what any of those things are.
What?
But as soon as that caught wind, a lot of lawsuits started flying, and a lot more restrictions are getting put back down on creators. And so YouTube and all the creators have been enjoying all this freedom for all these years, and now they're getting brought into the broader global network of the media industry and empire. And now they have to go and abide by the rules that they that are already there. And so people are going to have to adjust. But yeah, we have definitely some content on there. But getting back to that, the PR video.
Serious issues though. Like anyone who's making the videos and stuff, like make sure you look out for that. Shout outs to Shikaka and the rest of the Bowser Discord, because Shikaka's had to deal with that a whole bunch with his super rad videos, and it's just like super. It's just like fun. Irritating. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Frustrating.
Like I actually, when people ask me to look at music, when I'm looking at music now, I'm literally looking at stuff that's royalty free, or stuff where I can buy a license for that's fairly cheap but still pretty dope sounds, because I'm not trying to look for anything too specific. But sometimes there are some tracks you hear and you're like, I need this. I need this. I want to use this, but can I legally do it? You gotta
make that's rough.
But I'm
like thinking about copyright stuff that I've had to go through with like Tomo and like
it's a pain. So that PR video, you're at the top of your game, you're on the PR list, and now you're thinking maybe you want to get out. When did that start?
Top of the PR list. No, I was number 10.
Sorry.
That's the top. I mean, sort of.
Sorry. No. Top of your game.
They list you first.
The top of the game on the PR list.
It's got a 1 in it. Yeah, like I like worked really hard for it and thought about it, and I was like, like. It felt really good at first. I was like, yes, like I proved it to myself. I can do it even when it's Bowser. Like even when I'm using the worst character in the game, I can prove that I am still good at this game. And it was like proving it to myself. I was also super hype about the video because it got my like 3-hit KO on Bladewise at the beginning of a teams match.
Any hype moments.
Oh my god, I loved it so much. But yeah, and then like after that, it really changed how I started playing against other players, and I didn't like it. So shout outs to DB Sammy, because he was the one who like, it was a specific interaction that we had that like really like stuck it to me and like made me understand like, oh, okay, so this is what's going on with me. Super good player. He plays Luigi and Fox. He's like, dude, he's pretty damn good. He makes me like Luigi. He makes me want to play Luigi.
So the reason why you don't play competitively anymore is DB Sammy's fault?
Hush. No, that's let me get to the story, because I love this dude, and that's totally not what happened. So now whenever I was playing against like lower tiered players, I used to kind of care if I lost, but most of the time I'd be like, oh, okay, whatever. I care more about learning from like the bigger players, unless I'm like, I can learn more from them, I guess. And most of the people I ran into, I was beating. But like once I got onto the PR, like that changed all of that. Like it was so much more about like, hey, I'm coming for you. Hey, like I want your title. And I'm like, dude, I really liked feeling like the underdog. Like I wasn't PR and I was playing Bowser. It's
now
like
you're
that
a big
did
fish.
that did so much for me mentally, to be like, okay, I'm already down and out because I picked up this controller and selected this character. Like, let's go. Let's prove it to myself. And now I didn't have that as much. If I played a top player, it was like, oh, well, he beat him. Well, he's number 10 on the PR, so he's doing something. I was like, damn it, dude. Like, that used to be that felt big for me. And now whenever I beat a top PR player, and whenever I beat a top PR player at that point, which was happening less and less because they were figuring out the matchup, it didn't even feel as good anymore, because I'm like, well, I'm going to see Chevy in another month, so, I got to beat him there. And, like, so I was still, like, I was figuring out exactly what I wanted to do, and I went up against DB Sammy, and he was really gunning for me. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to take that 10th spot. And I was like, dude, well, all right, man, you kind of have to prove it. Let's go. And we went to game 3, one of our games, and I went into the final game knowing exactly how I was going to die, too, which was super frustrating. So we, take game 1. He beats me game 2. And at the end, I believe it was at the end of game 2, he like saw, or he always knew about it or something. First time I'd seen it. If Luigi jabs Bowser and Bowser is not reacting a really specific way, it's a free up B after that. Like I can't, it literally like pops me in the air, and then Bowser has such a long like landing. I'd hold shield, I'd do anything I could, and it was like, no, it's free. There's nothing I can do about that unless I'm already crouch canceling or already DIing that down. So I just have to prepare for the jab at all times. And most players would be like, well, of course you have to do that. But I'm like, it's a free up B. Like, holy hell. Like, I can get it if it's like, oh, well, then he'll get a grab. Like, yeah, okay, I should watch out and prepare for that. I'm like, dude, that up B is on frame 3. Like, that's the sweet spot. Like, it's intangible, and I literally don't have time. Like, that sucks. All my weight goes away when you do that to me. And so, like, game 3, I already knew. I was like, I should probably pick a different character because that's how he's going to beat me. But you know what? Let's go. Bowser, game 3. And we go down, and it's like, I want to say it was final stock, but then he gets 2 he like took out one of my stocks super clean, and then he's a super high percentage, and he gets 2 jab to up Bs, and that's how he beats me. And he pops off super hard, and I was just like, and I knew it too, like, oh, that sucks. And he popped off, and he's like, let's go. And he's like, GG's. And I was like, fist bumped, couldn't look him in the eye or anything. Like, I was just so not used to that.
Because you knew what to look for.
Yeah, and it's like, I feel like I could potentially outplay him, but it's also like, wow, I lost to DB Sammy. I thought he was one of the dudes that like I had on lock, because like he would always tell me about that, and then I'd be like, yeah, but I'm just gonna Bowser you. And so like I didn't congratulate him. I didn't do anything. Like I just kept playing tournament. I was like, oh, that sucks. All right, well I'll have to move on mentally. And next time I saw him, I'd gone through some stuff at work, which like opened up my eyes to like how you treat someone in a competition, like how you can, you know, make that good. Like I was potential opportunity for like a promotion, but my contract was too short, so I wasn't up for it. And the one guy who was competing for it was like really hyped about getting it, even though apparently he was like the only one in department that was competing for it at all anyways. So he pretty much had it. But then like afterwards he's like, hey man, sorry I didn't get the job. And I was like, I wasn't even like applicable to the job. I wasn't in there at all. You thought I was in there? No. And I was like kind of hoping you got it because you actually care and you want it. And he's like, oh, okay. And then walked off, and I was like, wow, like I am never gonna be like that. Like that felt so weird and such like a bad interaction of like, oh, I'm totally misinformed. Like understanding like kind of how I come across. It's like I could do so much better than that.
But if you had the time, would you want to go and get that position?
Yeah, it would have been an awesome position. I would have done super awesome at it. But yeah, no, like all the best to him. He's doing the best he can. Mm-hmm. But like just that interaction, that was like, well, I don't want to do that, like, and like nothing against him, because he was just like, oh, yeah. I'm like bedazzled, and we worked really well together afterwards. So it was like whatever there, but I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. And I ran into DB Sammy, and when I fought him again, I ended up winning, and it was like it was this thing me and Bebop do whenever we're playing together, and like we like pull out that win, and it's like as it should be. And then like the next guy's like, oh, no, you don't. And he like comes back, and then he beats him as it should be. No, you shut up, as it should be. And then we'll just like go off at each other. But that was like a feeling I got when I beat DB Sammy the next time we fought each other. I was like, as it should be, as it should be. Good. I'm like, I am still as good as I thought I was. We fist bumped, and then I was like, hey dude, I'm sorry, I didn't congratulate you last time we played, because you played super well, and like that wasn't cool. I was pretty cold, you know, I was salty. And he's like, that's okay, that's fine. And then I recognized what I just did is even worse than what my coworker did. I was like, I had to beat him so that I felt okay to like do that. And I was like, whoa, that's super lame, don't ever do that again. Even like, I guess if I'm to defend myself, it was chalking it up to like, I honestly didn't think about it. I was really salty, and like I couldn't think about that at the time. And you know, like your manners go away from you when you're salty, man. Like that is a whole whole thing. Oh, do you know?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you know, man. It can get really ridiculous.
Sometimes I have some rage-inducing moments.
Yeah. So like but like I just kind of got to a certain mentality where I'm like, that's not acceptable for me. I can do better than that. Like there's me with Bowser, like there's always some way to improve. This is something that I can look at.
So how does this attribute to your downfall as a player?
To my downfall as a player, I recognize that like that's the kind of interaction and that's what I get from like these other players. Oh man, that's like unfortunate. So I started losing this drive.
Is it the state of the scene or just the way that people behave?
It's the difference between like PR and non-PR. And that's like for me mentally. It's nothing against the people either. Because like, dude, I was just as much like, dude, Pookie, I'm coming after you, number 10. And like that even has created a weird situation between us. Because I'm like, dude, that sucked. Pook's a cool dude. And like I made it so much, it was like so much business rather than like, dude, let's just hang out and chill and like play Smash Bros together.
I gotcha.
I love how you play. Like
it was getting too serious.
A little bit, yeah. Like I wanted to have my underdogness and I wanted to like really enjoy the game because like I'll play so many characters in this game, but I still like Bowser's still my boy, but I love all the different characters. So the character crisis kind of like worked out for me. No. But yeah, that was starting to get to me. And then I got signed by ESS. Super cool guys. We do lots of stuff. This is my first time talking about it, this whole podcast. But yeah, ESS, we do the Sunday tournaments. It was run by Logan and Anthony. And now Anthony is down in Cali. Love that dude. And Logan is going to be taking off pretty soon. So it's pretty much... He's pretty much done. I have like the whole tournament in my car.
Interesting. So let's talk about this transition period.
Mm-hmm.
So how long ago and when like did you get the first idea that you wanted to transition first as a TO in being kind of like a leadership role in ESS,
mm-hmm.
and was that kind of an easy transition going from being a competitive player and stopping playing competitively, or did you still kind of want to play some tournaments but also do the TO thing? So how did that transition go?
That's a hard one to say. Like there was just so much going on at the time. Basically Anthony was going to be like taken off and I was starting to get more interested in learning how like the back end works at tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to lose my drive. One, because like Dan had left and Dan was like the big proponent of me going to these games and he was my trainer, and he left, so I was like, I'm not like, I want to try and focus on commentary, and then I got shit on at commentary and I was like,
You're a great commentator.
I'm honestly like, especially back in the day, I was not that great at commentary. I'm starting to figure it out. I'm starting to like know what I'm talking about and starting to recognize bad traits.
Yeah, but you've got the voice for it. You got a nice...
The voice means nothing. Like that is the most frustrating thing.
I know. But it's a superficial thing to say.
Yeah.
But
I like hearing your voice, and it's like great, but top players don't give a shit.
No, they don't. They don't. But you first off, you need to know what you're talking about.
Yes,
that's the
absolutely.
That
is literally the most important thing. Yeah.
But once you get to like a high level, especially if esports takes off like it looks like it's going to take off,
mm-hmm.
and you're going to have ESPN-like commentators for esports,
mm-hmm.
right? When they go to hire people, whether it's be audio only or camera mm-hmm. and audio,
mm-hmm.
They're going to look for people that know what they're talking about, but they're also going to look for the people who have a good voice and a good face. Let's be honest here.
And I've got one of those.
So I mean, don't degrade yourself, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real here. That when this all goes professional at one point in time, that
mm-hmm.
these things are going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they might not matter now. I mean, I think they still matter. I mean, people make comments of it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I made
I
made the comment, sarcastically.
Yeah. And it triggered me, dude. I'm just like, dude, I get that, but like, man, I've heard some really good voices and some really bad commentary in combination.
No, you're totally right, and that's why it's important to know your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that matters too, because if you know your stuff, but you have like some sort of personality or some sort of character, and you've got a great voice to go along with it,
mm-hmm.
people are definitely going to tune in.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm working a little bit more on knowing my stuff. So like, I have been for a while. So like now when I do commentary, I feel a little bit better, but like I watch Smash all the time at home, so mm-hmm. I don't feel like I have that much to talk about, which is a little frustrating. So I'll wait for like grand finals or like 1 or 2 games during one of the monthlies or something like that, or if we really, really need it. But like the commentary, like it did a number on me, and so but it was like justified. There was a lot of stuff that I was talking about that I just didn't know.
And so what else was going on in this transitionary period?
Well, Anthony was taken off, so we needed someone to like start watching stream.
Sure.
And I just jumped out. I was like, yeah, I can do it. I say as I push up my nerd glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take care of that. And that was like a whole learning process, but I was really interested in it because it seemed like kind of fun, but like it was such an important component to all of like Smash Bros. And like this is not me like trying to shout myself out or anything like that, but give love to your TOs and the people who run stream, because like if you think about it, like to a certain degree, like esports almost would not exist if it wasn't for like this kind of exposure. Like this is a shout out to you guys because you do such a goddamn good job and you inspire me to like do more stuff.
I think we need to do way more, and we can do way more. But
exactly. Well, that's like the type of people that we need to make this community work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's kind of where I got, where I was like, dude, I need to do more, and like playing as Bowser, like yay, I can do it, and yay, I can win money, but like. Project M is, it's having some hard times, man. Like during development, it was slowly getting more and more popular, and then it was like reaching the peak, and then it was like, hey, dude, we gotta stop.
And is this partially, or is this some back-end Nintendo top secret information that has anything to do with any of this?
No, this was PM literally coming out on their website saying, hey, we're gonna stop.
All I know is because there's a lot of speculation about why development stopped over PM, because it was a very popular game.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't because of that. Like I was not quite in the loop at that point.
Sure.
So yeah, I was more focused on, or rather, I found out when it was on the website.
Right.
And so like that's something I was looking at too. Like when I was talking to Logan, I was like, like PM is, and I hate to say it, but like almost on its way out. Like it really has to fight, because the community is like
it's limited.
It's really limited, and like
I think about this all the time.
It's like frustrating to a certain degree because I love the game a lot, but like I look at it, I'm like, dude, like there are so many good, talented players here. Like they need more exposure, and that's the only way this game is going to get bigger. So like eventually that kind of became my mindset of like, okay, I had my fun trying to get in the spotlight, but like eventually I figured out that's not really for me. But we have a lot of really talented players and a lot of people who are like, no, this is gonna be it, who have way more passion than I do. I'm like, well, what can I do for the community? So I started, figuring out how to do the stream so that I could just like help out, take care of that, because Anthony loves to play, and Logan loves to play too. Like that's the whole reason ESS got started, was Logan was like, dude, I just want to play PM, and like I can set this up and we can have a tournament and it'll be super fun. There are silly stories about like the first ESS that ever happened, like in one of the malls and yada yada. It's like Chevy, like 2 players weren't let in. I can't remember if it was Chevy and
I remember it was the first ESS, wasn't it? Like I remember
at a mall or something like that.
Yeah, I heard some hubbub about it. It was on the Facebook group afterwards.
Yeah, and then we transferred over to Jubilee Reach over in Bellevue. Not dropping anything there. We switched over to that venue and like kept focusing in on Project M, and like they always wanted to play, so that was like really important for them, is to like get off of the stream machine and go and play at the same time. And I ended up like, when I became part of the team, I started watching our VODs, and I was like, it kind of hurts to say now, but I was like, damn, there are mistakes all over the place. Like that's frustrating for me to watch and know that like that's part of my team. And I was like, oh man, I can do something about that, can I? So I started really like focusing on the stream and making it like nice, getting the kind of exposure, like higher quality. We kind of need that. And so like Anthony was like, cool, this is boss, like he's just taking over, that's cool. And so he went off to California, and loved that dude. He's now doing super important work. And so I just became like the stream guy. and then I started a Bowser guide.
So let me ask you, because we had this discussion early on when you were in that period, and you asked me some question about the stream, and I made it seem like very simple, just because I've been doing this for a long time now. And once you get used to everything,
exactly. You don't want to tell new people about it, or like
no, it's not even about that. It's just that like all it is it's a ton of early configuration and getting everything all set up. But once you get it set up,
it's really easy.
It's just a process of operations that it's like a list of things that you have to follow, and you just have to do it by the letter. And
telling it to someone is like, that's a process of it. So like anytime people are like, hey, I want to help with this, I'm like, honestly, it's more of a help for me not to teach you how to do this than to like teach you how to do this in the long run. It's gonna get done at the same speed.
It's like unless you're gonna be helping me long term.
Yeah, like
it's like there's no point of even me telling.
Yeah, your investment of time is appreciated, but
so, and I remember saying that, like, as you do the tournaments, as you do the VODs, as you do everything, it doesn't get any easier.
Because you just want to keep doing more and getting better.
And there's more work, and it keeps getting piled on. So has that come to fruition to you?
Yeah, dude. Like streaming up to 4 times a week. That was starting to get to me, and I was doing more than just Smash.
So I wanted to ask about that, actually. When you started streaming, especially as like recently, you've been going like everywhere.
Yeah.
Why?
So as I was saying, I wanted to do a Bowser guide, and so I was like, hey, can I borrow the stream equipment so that I can like do it? And Logan's like, yeah, dude, it just chills at my house. I don't do anything with it. And I was like, you privileged child, give me that computer. And no, not really like that, but I was like, yeah, dude, like I just want to work on like a video for it. And so I took it home, and I was starting to learn all the stuff and like actually sit down and figure out OBS. And then like 5 minutes in, I was like, oh, hey, I figured out how to do replays. We should totally add that to the stream. And then like started to work on other things and like getting it all together. And I was like, dude, I kind of really like streaming. Like I can do this. It does good for the community. I get to watch good Smash. Like, this is something I can do. You know, I'm juggling like a whole bunch of other things. Like you got the perler bead art right there. Like I do perler beads. I do pixel art. I'm actually not that bad. Cough, cough.
We got that at Northwest Majors.
Yeah.
And I actually want to hook up with a vendor for our tournament Nemesis. I want to figure out someone or a few people who sell Smash related stuff and sell them at a tournament. So
I got a dude for you to talk to then.
All right.
Excellent. But yeah, like I'm trying to figure out like what more I can do for the community at this point. And then Logan comes in with some news of like, dude, Logan is trying to save the world, everyone. He's trying to help the monkeys. This is a constant thing that we say at ESS, alongside with hashtag Damn It Logan. So like Logan started the whole thing up because he wanted to play PM, and like over time it became like way more than he thought it would be. And so he is doing work, I believe it's in Asia, to help some I want to say indigenous, but that's not right. With like domesticated, I guess they live within a city with people, and so they've like learned to interact with them, similar to like the crows, I guess. And there's like a disease spreading with that.
Are you talking about people?
Yes.
So you're talking about like in similar to like Aborigines in Australia, where they're people who weren't part of modern civilization.
No, like actual monkeys.
Oh, monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys, not like a slur for humans.
Oh, I didn't hear monkeys earlier. I was watching the game.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't hear that word. People? Sorry, now I got to cut this whole part out because that sounds super racist.
No, you're leaving that in. That's fine. No, he's trying to help him out, and I'm not sure if that's exactly what he's doing anymore. He hasn't been able to talk about it too much, but that was like his main goal when he was like working in college and doing some stuff. And now he's working on like an even bigger project and like an internship. And
he's gonna jail some Smash characters.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We're not talking about it anymore. He's going to be like going off to Africa and doing like really important big business work. And so he's like, dude, I'd love it if ESS could stay around. And I was basically like, yeah, well, as long as I'm here, like, absolutely, that's going to happen.
So essentially at this point, you're taking lead?
Yeah. And I was like no offense to the rest of the guys, but like they all have like other things going on in life. Like Zeddy just got his job and he's just moving out and like all these other things. And I was like, you know, I've kind of always wanted that a little bit, like deep down, you know, you're like, oh dude, a video game team, that'd be cool. But usually it's like, that's because I play so good, all the other kids want to play with me, like that kind of
it's the
mentality.
ego.
Yeah, it's usually like the ego, but now it was like, nah dude, like this is my fam, I got to take care of my fam.
So let me ask you a question, because I don't know for sure, and that's because of my own ignorance, but I don't know who is, like, what is the official structure of ESS? Like, who's part of the organization? Because I know some things have changed around. We don't have to talk about prospective players or anything, but you know, now that Logan and Llama are pretty much, you know, going to be MIA.
Yeah.
Like who's, and you know, Zeddy's obviously playing and everything, but like who else is there that we know?
Team, there's young Forest Fire, who's always shooting for PR,
of course,
and will always be shooting for PR. Just kidding, love you, Forest.
Oh, what, you think he's never gonna make PR?
No, he might make PR. He's got to work on some mentality stuff. He definitely has. And all of that has come from training with me. So if any of you out there want to make PR, I'm just kidding.
This guy.
No, I love Forrest. He's like our main PR guy. He helps out whenever we're like, hey, we got to make a tweet, we got to do this, we got to like post on Facebook. He's been helping out a whole ton with that, and because like that's pretty important, that's how you get word out. But at the same time, it's like, God, dude, there's like really other things that we got to do. So he's been super awesome helping us out with that. And then Tomo, actually, as well as Forrest has been totally stepping it up recently. I was thinking about like past Forrest and how he got started. Now he's like our main TO, and he's like taking all the money and setting up the brackets, and he's like getting all that started, and he's been super awesome about that.
He talked about him kind of taking a role in that a little bit more recently.
Yeah.
And
because we honestly needed it. Like Logan was doing that a whole lot, and he was like out there and he was doing stuff, and you know, like we'd only rarely have to be like, hey, can we run the bracket, Logan? And he's like, oh yeah, my bad.
The tournaments require two things. You need like that front end team, and you need a back end team. Back end team to run the streams and make sure that people are playing their brackets, and then that front end team to interact with people.
Exactly. And so we were losing that. So Forrest has been stepping it up and helping us out with that. Same thing with Tomo. He's been helping out a lot with TO work and like helping me get like my equipment set up over at UW or whenever he comes in. And I was like, oh man, I gotta adjust this thing on the stream or something like that. He's like, I got it. He's been like super helpful that way. Shockbound has been taking over for like a lot of the stream duties because we've like streamlined how we are like outputting our videos. He used to be the dude that would like, he would just take all the raw data from our recording and like go home, clip it up, and then put it up on YouTube. And I was like, dude, that's
what we used to do.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, that's so much work. What can we do to make this easier for you? And now we like in-house clip. We have a different process. But like he was doing that for a long time, and now he's helping out with the stream and like figuring it out, making sure that things run. But it really how I got it figured out as well, and like I really, you know, suggest this to anyone else who wants to learn how to stream and do that, is just download the stream material and start playing around with it. Like you figure out a whole lot of stuff really quick, and you get way more comfortable with it, which is the important part. Also, instructional videos never hurt. They're super good. Like I don't understand the people who are like, I really want to do this thing. Have you looked up how to? No. It's like it's right there.
Oh God, you have no idea as an IT guy how infuriating that is when.
I don't think I do.
I don't. Oh,
I can imagine. I watch the IT crowd. Okay.
It's, you know what it is. It's that. At least in a corporate environment, I don't want to, you know, shit talk anyone that I work with, and I'm not going to name names or anything. But there are some instances where there are some people who ask me questions, and I ask myself internally in my head, how is this person working this job? Why are you asking me these series of questions? This should be part of like knowing how to use like the software to do your job.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, if you've been working for the company for like 20 years, you should know this like in and out. I don't know why you're asking me like these constant questions. Like, it's requiring me now to go and learn like software that I'm not like I don't normally know because because you don't know how to use it.
Yeah. So I'm picking up on that lack of info.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is your job. So why aren't you? So that's what it is. It's just like I have those moments where it's just like, just Google it for half a second.
Please. Yeah. I figured it out. It's not that hard.
Yeah, it took me like 10 minutes to figure it out, maybe, because I'm trying to answer your specific question. But if you spent that time to do it instead of emailing me and then waiting me to respond, you could have figured it out by the time I got back to you.
Yeah, and it's weird because when I worked with Anthony, it was actually on the polar opposite end where he's like, you could learn how to do it, but it would take you forever, and it takes me literally 30 seconds, so I'll just take care of it. And I was like, God, you're such a god, Anthony. But yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one. It's really frustrating, and it can be at first, but then once you're comfortable with it, you understand, and you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
And that's why, when you came in that one time, and I was like, you just do this, that, and that. And
I was like,
that's it.
I think I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
But then I didn't tell you about all the hours configuring everything and getting everything working.
On the other end, where I'd like, dude, unless you know exactly what you're doing, I don't want you touching this console. No offense to you. I'm like, I'm totally that kind of stream guy, which is kind of frustrating too, because then I don't really get a chance to interact with the community as much as I'd like to, because I don't leave the booth. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, I just care about quality. That's what I want. So yeah, I started doing that.
So anyone else on the team other than everyone we've listed so far?
No, that's it. Just kidding.
Okay.
We got Zeddy Boy. He's a really good dude. He's been focusing in on himself and his play recently, and he doesn't when he is around, he's a super awesome PR guy, and he shouts us out, and it's really good, and we get really good turnouts. And when he's around, he also helps TO, but that is not exactly the norm for Zeddy, and that's okay. I don't mind, but yeah, he's also got his job and that whole thing, and that's just recently come up. But yeah, Zeddy is also a big part of the team. We try. He's done a few videos for us too, which has been nice. And then there's me, who does all the boring parts. No, I'm just kidding. I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I run stream. I try and set up tournaments, and I run around and stream a whole bunch every week.
So again, why so many tournaments? Why the frequency? Because I see your posts constantly. I'm over here.
Yeah, it's
screaming.
irritating, isn't it?
No, it's not at all.
It's
but
screaming.
It does beg the question: are you burning yourself out by doing all this? This is a lot.
It gets close.
Because we were talking about earlier before we started podcasting here. Some of these can be 12-hour. You're telling me the 12-hour days.
Yeah, the 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Those are a lot more common than people think. But I am sometimes I feel a little burnout, but then it's the next day I'm like, that's actually okay. Yesterday, it was rough, dude. I get there,
it was warm.
I don't know. It was so warm. I got there at 9:30ish. I can't remember. I think it was 9:30ish. We get in there, doors aren't open, totally not Aiden's fault. And then, so we have to wait. So I go and I find parking, and I don't know about parking in UW because I'm dumb apparently. And I park in the wrong spot, and tournament starts, and I'm just constantly streaming. I'm trying to figure things out. When you get behind the computer and you're just oh my gosh, the camera's not working. I gotta fix the camera. I gotta troubleshoot the camera, but I don't know enough about the camera to actually troubleshoot the camera. So please, just please start working for me. And so I have to do that a whole bunch. And that's it goes off and on, which is just also frustrating on my end. But then you actually get to the stream, and then you really got to watch things. You got to watch chat. You got to make sure that, and because of our process, I'm just never done. Once a turn, once a set ends, I can walk you through the entire process. Would you like to be walked through the whole?
Sure.
I don't know. Absolutely, just lay it on me. So match ends if it's the end of their set.
Sure.
Then I stop record. I rename the file. I grab the file. I put it up on YouTube. I rename the file that's up on YouTube. I click a couple things on it, and it starts processing. Then I set up who's next for the tournament, make sure that they're all good, hit start recording. I go and I start filling out things to prepare for that whole process again while watching and making sure that I'm not missing anything, because otherwise I got to clip it, which is me pressing a button and then changing over a file over on another scene and then switching between the two scenes. And it's dude, it's work, man.
It sounds very similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, I love the EPG boys like so much because you guys have like. You guys really got me started with like, oh, dude, this is what a stream should look like.
Organization and
yeah, like looking good and like it's actually working and like things aren't gonna mess. You're like, I know, God, it sucks. No, like
this can get so much better.
I know.
I'm never happy.
Yeah, you're in the same boat that I'm in because like I went and did tournaments with Chris for like Northwest Majors, and I see what a real stream setup looks like, and I'm like, oh God, it's so good. Like full tripods for each camera. They got lights on the players. They got so many screens, just like a wave of screens. They get all the information to their like commentators. They have a banner behind the commentators. There's lights for the commentators, and then there's one dude running it all at a giant sound system and a giant like tower. It's so insane, and like I just see that and I was like, I need that. Like I want our stream to get to that point for some sick, disgusting reason. But no, like that quality, it really pushes me. To like,
I totally agree. I mean, I have, like you mentioned some of those things, the lighting and the I have more tripods and I have way more lighting equipment. But there's just no space to put it.
Yeah. And it also comes down to the space. It's like, how good can I make this stream in this space?
Yeah, you know? With what you have. And if we had a larger, more static location.
Like which you guys have been talking about.
Yeah, it's something. Well, we had some negotiations at one point, but it's an ongoing.
Hard.
It's an ongoing.
Yeah.
The problem is, and I talked to Zeddy about this, is trying to find.
That was super sick.
No problem. It's just trying to find a location on a day that works for a majority of the community plus prospective players.
Yeah.
And in Seattle, in this area, it's a little bit tough just because of geographical, difficulties. Yeah. And so, especially when you're a startup, you don't want to spend too much money.
Yeah.
And so, like, the most ideal place would be in Seattle. But good luck without spending at least like $4 or $5 a month and like renting out a space.
Yeah, and like you'll spend so much money just renting a place out for like a day, man. Like it gets up there. Like that's one of the more frustrating things about like setting up tournaments and like venues and stuff is just like, dude, you got to put so much money down, and then like sometimes you're not even sure what the turnout is going to be, even if you have a super awesome venue.
Well, and that's I think that's part of the art of being a TO is figuring out all those variables. That's something I've been trying to do for ePG for a while now, is collect all that data and start figuring out what to attack.
Like how to move forward and like, okay, this is where we want to get our venue.
What's viable? How can we do this? Working out the numbers, and that's what helps with our weekly meetings as well. We have these weekly meetings, and we go over some of these ideas that we have, and decide what order, which way to go. Yeah, and it's tough because it's a lot of effort, and that's the thing. That's the one thing being a TO is just the effort. That it takes.
And that's why I'm saying, man, give love to your TOs, give love to your stream guys, because they do, like, once you're on the other side, you recognize how much actual work it is, and then how little they actually get to play, and it's just like, whoa, dude, like, they work pretty dang hard. Good stuff.
Well, some of those people, like me, I don't care if I play, because I don't play, and historically I've never played. So there'll be some people who literally just find their calling in being a TO or somewhere in the operation side of a tournament. Yeah. But then there'll definitely be players like yourself or like Robo even who play. But
dude, Robo works hard, man.
But they want to they want to make sure that they have a tournament and it runs well too.
Yeah. Like Aiden's starting to get into the. Well, I guess he's always been playing, but Aiden also like enters a bunch of the tournaments that he runs too. So, like that's hard work. And so since I don't feel like I want to enter these tournaments as much. So I'd rather like run the stream during the tournament and then just get like super fun friendlies, and then I can play the game kind of how I want to play the game, which is just like random all-star, let's go, and like just have tons of fun.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
So when you transitioned over from being a player to a TO / leader of ESS, you have any challenges making that transition, or is there anything that you miss from just being a player and not being a TO?
Challenges. I don't feel like blowing my own horn, but because I was really focused on it, and I'm gonna be able to handle this. This is not anything that is beyond me. Logan's been working pretty well with me, and all the boys have been so awesome about being like, dude, we'll totally be there with you. As you're doing this, you're taking on a whole lot. We'll back you up. Honestly, I haven't felt that challenge. The most
smooth transition.
Yeah, I put more of the challenge on myself. Going to these other tournaments, that's my own personal challenge and my own I don't take any money home from any of that. I just put it into the ESS fund, and that's.
Oh, so you're charging for events?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, certain ones, it depends. But I don't know, running pretty dang big events, and there are other people that do too. I know.
For gas, money,
Yeah.
Potential hazards and all that.
But that's
stuff.
That's something I can just do and do something for the community. And since I'm already basically doing that, I'm okay, well, I'll handle this part. And because there have been little bursts where I'll feel a little bit stressed out and hey, we got to get this figured out. Things are super secret. Mm-hmm. Things are really shaking up over at ESS. Honestly, things are going to be changing a whole bunch pretty soon here.
Okay.
We're going to be doing some stuff. But yeah, I'm
Anything
trying to
you can share with us today?
I honestly I kind of want to and give a sneak preview, but at the same time I'm dude, I so badly want this to be so cool. Everyone basically already knows at this point, the Arcadian. We are going to be setting it up. We are going to be figuring it out. I'm literally in the process of doing it.
I wasn't sure if that was still going to go through or not.
It comes down to the venue, and I've got to figure out the venue, and I've got to figure out our venue right now. With Logan leaving, there's a lot more complications than people think. It's not something where it's oh man, this is really bad, but it's just it's certain relationships that we don't have anymore. So I've got to make sure that I've got that figured out and that we can still be, ESS in the future. But once that's figured out, once I figured out our venue situation and all these things, absolutely the Arcadian is going to happen. And there are so many things that I've figured out and talked about, and working with some other people that I know, hey, how much is this going to cost if we want to do this, and this much, and getting all that figured out, it's gotten me really excited. So I don't want to share too much about it, but I'm the reason the Arcadian stuff hasn't come out and we've been pretty quiet about stuff is that I really want to make it big and really awesome. Because I just I love our players so much, and I think we'll have a super awesome Arcadian, and I want them to feel just fucking rock stars.
Okay,
that's what I'm looking forward to.
So you're gonna have a baller event.
That's what I'm gonna try. And I don't think there's enough time to run it before Nemesis anymore, which is really unfortunate. I really wanted to have the Arcadian go down and then create some super hard tension, and then it just blow up at Nemesis, and Nemesis be this huge culmination of no, he just beat me at that last tournament.
There's
let's
so
go.
many tournaments going on right now, and there's going to be
we're watching Bigger Balk right now.
there are so many tournaments. We were looking at the schedule for the longest time, and we wanted to do initially our tournament in July or June.
I remember you guys talking about that.
And we were looking at it as all right, well, this week's a national, this week's a regional in this area, this week's another national. But it's all right, well, is there any tournament or any weekends in this area where we can find a space at the venue that we want, but also not be in coincidence with
the bigger tournaments, because that does hurt the turnout, and we don't want it to.
Well, and it hurts the turnout, and it also for our stream viewership, when we're trying to pull people to come watch and everything, for the hype factor.
Yeah, the hype, and then just get more people out into the scene. Exposure's never bad. Yeah.
So it's tough sometimes, just because in that June to August time frame, there is so many tournaments.
Yeah,
all over
just
the
a
place.
cavalcade, man. it's like our own holiday. Like you just go around and you run around to oh my gosh, so many tournaments. And like I know like Llama, Mr. Anthony, he's always running around to so many tournaments. I get a little bit jealous. Like I was originally going to go
right
to
now?
Bigger Balk. Yeah, he's at Bigger Balk. He's going to Smash and Splash. He's going to
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. I gotcha.
He's always going to these big tournaments.
Because I wasn't sure if he was still playing as much now that he's got his job in California.
Absolutely playing. Yeah, he's absolutely still playing. He plays with Strong Bad now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to hear about. But
are you jelly?
A little bit. I mean,
yeah.
How can you not be? I mean, he's so goddamn handsome. It's really hard to fight, and his puns are just so on point. So amazing. Yeah, I miss the dude. I still wish he was here. But yeah, he's working on other things now.
So is there anything else as a TO and leader of ESS that you can share with us going on in your sphere? Anything new or upcoming?
I guess so. Like this has already been set in motion, so I guess like it doesn't hurt that much to talk about. Ooh, sneak peek.
Okay.
The PM circuit, our weeklies are going to be a part of it.
You're going to be in the PMCC?
Yeah, PMCC. And I know Nemesis is part of the PMCC,
yeah.
So you'll like earn points there. But basically, with that kind of weekly opportunity, we'll have like way better prizes. I might have other prizes that I've procured from a location I can't exactly talk about,
sure.
Which will be pretty cool for certain people who are huge fans.
Oh, okay. So it's something specialized for sure.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you might see some interesting items there. So like, I want to see like more people at our weeklies, but that's all I can really talk about for the time being. All the other stuff, like I really do want to talk about, but I want to make sure I have it all ironed out. I really, really not anymore. I don't like talking about my plans before I actually have them figured out, because then I'll just stop trying with the plan, which is really stupid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I'll keep it hush. I'll get these dates figured out. And then once that's done, like...
That's the hard part, though, is figuring out the dates, because the moment... like, there's some days where you just want to take a break, because if you're focusing on it too hard, you get burned out, and you just want to take, like, a few days. And then the challenge comes, I need to get back into the cadence of things and get everything all squared away. And then there's just other challenges that arise, or... as I say all the time, recurring tasks. Like if you're running a weekly, you know that you need to do this, and you need to make these posts at these times, and blah 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 blah.
And you got to seem really annoying on Facebook by posting about them all the time. And like that, Tomo's been calling me out on that. He's like, Corey, you can't post these tournaments anymore. I'm like, why? He's like, because that's all you do now. So anytime I see an update from Corey, I know it's a tournament. I'm like, then isn't that like efficient? Doesn't that mean like that's my reminder to go to the thing? He's like, oh, you don't get it, I'm gonna make the post. And so he makes a post and then he messes up the post. I'm just like, damn it, Tomo.
Like that's the hard part, because like even when I do these tournament posting videos for ePG, like you'll see some of them are a lot more personable and more expansive, and then some of them are just like quick, like one paragraph.
It's another weekly, like no offense, but like we have super hype shit happen all the time, but that's because it's happening all the time. We're dead inside Yeah, he got him with the wolf flash again. Oh, did you see that 0 to death from Pikmon? Like, remember the days of being bored of Pikmon? Like, you'd just be like, he might set up for a kill move. Or oh my gosh, he's still going. Oh, you got him.
Or I said this in the past, watching Silent Wolf and Bladewise in grand finals for a year. Every week.
I was so excited watching it the first few times I was at EPG. I did some of my like best commentary work, being like, oh my gosh, this is how Silent Wolf is playing. Oh, it's totally changing how I'm playing the game, and like this is how Bladewise is reacting to it. And then we had like sound corruption and I didn't get it. I was like, damn it. But yeah, like I was so hype about the match the first few times, and that's one because like Bladewise was actually starting to take some games from him, and I was like, oh, that's huge. And like actually taking sets. So like for a short time it was really cool, and then like you've seen that it happens. This is why I'm like, I love Random All-Star, because it's just the players are still so good, but they get to do just wild things that, you know, they're not used to, and that's like super fun. And then you're not used to seeing them either. Like when Chevy's like, hey man, I'm going to go Ike for a little bit. And then you see Chevy's Ike, and you're like, oh, Chevy's Ike is so amazing. And then, like, he'll go back and be like, oh, dude, in Melee, I'm playing Bowser now. And you're like, oh, dude, Chevy's, you know. And that's because Chevy's just an awesome player all around. But, like...
And he knows a lot of characters.
Yeah, he knows a lot of characters.
Especially
but he's
if they have some sort of jank to him.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if he gets killed by something that's silly from one of those characters, I've noticed that sometimes he'll go back and try to learn that specific move.
There's a lot he won't touch. There are ones where I guess he'll like look at and he's like, that's cancer, I'm not touching that.
Really?
Yeah, like, well, he doesn't learn like the Sonic tag, he doesn't learn the Game & Watch tag, or maybe he's secretly just like, yeah, I know about him, but I'm not touching that because I hate it.
Or maybe he touches it but he doesn't tell anyone. He'll just sit there,
oh god,
on net
touching
player.
It secretly in silence.
He'll get like a different net play name and practice like Sonic on the side. Yeah, exactly. I'll have to ask him.
I want another tag, Crush 30. No! He's so good at Sonic now. No, Chevy's like super crazy good, but yeah, like that's something about commentary and like weeklies and such is just like you've seen this a whole bunch of times, and like maybe if it's reverse mains or something else, like that's why I like the ePG stuff where it's like, hey, we're gonna switch it up this week because it's like, dude, we need that. We actually need that. Like there are the times where we really want to improve, and then there's like, hey, let's also have fun with it. Like just a little bit, you know, let's switch it up every once in a while. That's why I like the Arcadian as well. It's like you definitely get better going to these weekly tournaments, and like you might get lucky enough that none of the PR members show up. Those are usually the days that recently I've been entering. Is just like like a few months before I made like the hard transition. I remember one day I like walk in and I take a look at the bracket and I'm like, oh my god, is it too late to sign up? I got this. Like it's so good, free money. Anthony's like, yeah, but I'll get you in there. I was like, yes. And like Forrest was thinking the exact same thing before I walked in, and like he constantly tells me, he's like, Corey, I hate the day that you walked in like that. It was my day.
That happens here too.
I heard the legend of like DV Sammy versus Pikmon, and how he came close. Oh, and then Bluetooth actually taking one of the tournaments. That's right.
Yeah, it can get really interesting because we have on a normal basis like six, 7 of the PR here every week, and that can be difficult for new players for sure. So it's a more hostile.
No new players taking home money when they come to EPG.
Yeah, it's a hostile.
It's humble pie. Like
yeah, it's a hostile environment. But I mean, the people here. I mean, you've been here enough where sometimes it can get a little salt if it gets a little too serious. But for the most part, it's a pretty chill environment. But you know, when you're playing a game, you know, there's no mercy. You know, you will get, you know, it's either slay or be slayed.
Yeah, there's always the tournament cheese that you got to break through. Like the first time Mewtwo does is the battlefield trick on you in Melee. You're like, yeah, you got Mewtwo cheese. You're not gonna let that happen again, are you? No, I had no idea that was the thing. Yeah, there's the Sheik Puff cheese, which is just like when Sheik uses dash attack or like certain moves, you just hold down with Puff and you crouch under it, and then Puff gets a free rest. And you're like, yeah, you'll run into that a couple times, but you usually get smart to that after a certain point. There's just like so many cheese things that you got to learn from the tournament that like a top player can do. Like Bowser is like the most pristine example. I'm so sick and tired of getting side B to side B, and that's what kills you. I'm not happy when I get that kill. I don't think like most Bowser mains aren't happy with that anymore. They're just like, yeah, it looks cool the first time, but like the billionth time, you're just like, you just messed up. You messed up really bad because you missed like a very specific DI time, and like it was really important during this combo to not get hit by this move, but because I got you this time
because it's no longer a cool move or anything. It's a calculated, you know, set of
it's not you being good, it's them being bad.
Yeah,
and when you recognize that, it's like
but you're also looking at it and like in an analytical standpoint where you're breaking down how they messed up. You know, it's not just that they messed up like, oh, you did this move a little bit too late, but you're thinking how it all ties together, the combos of moves, how you should have done it, you know, and that just takes time to develop.
Yeah.
And so for the new player, they don't understand that all the time.
Yeah, experience is like, it's almost bigger than tech skill, I want to say. Like tech skill, you will definitely go far, but experience is how you win money. Like, like the Arcadian yesterday kind of proved that, and like, just so
Who
many
won?
times. Like Gus ended up winning
Okay,
that one.
really?
Dude, it was emotional. He worked so hard for that, and he had to go through like 2 Puff Dittos. And Gus has been putting in so much work, and he's so good. I'm not afraid to admit it because he's an awesome dude. And like, dude, honestly, like in that situation, I don't blame you at all. He broke down in tears with happiness when he won. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like, that's so awesome that we have that in our community. When someone wins a tournament that they wanted to so bad that it actually like has that effect on them. I'm like, I remember the times that was like affecting me as a player, like beating Chief for the first time. Like, ooh. Like, that's such an important feeling.
So that rolls into a question I have. As a TO then, and now, seeing what you just described, is there anything more that you feel that we can do as TOs in this area? Or, do you have any ideas of what we can do in this area to kind of make a better environment for this kind of stuff?
It's hard to say. Like, a lot of the TOs are actually really good TOs. I think it's like the general turnout that affects a lot of it. Like Washington, I've talked to a bunch of the players, and like a lot of Washingtonians are like, yeah, we kind of have like a lazy PR, or we kind of have this. But with like PM, it's a little bit better. So I guess like because we're like so tightly knit and like we update more often. I don't know really how to describe it. I mean, like Comm Masters back in
we
town,
see each other more often.
Yeah.
And we are a little bit more active. Because we are always
the
going to each
PR
other's.
members are always traveling. Like, like even Chevy makes sure to like come out to each of the ESSs, and like that works out for them. But like a lot of the newer players are like, what can we do? So as like TOs, I guess like encourage people to come out to events more. Like, that's how Smash is going to grow. Bring your friends. Like, I know Bebop. Shout outs to you, Dominique, again. You never come. You never come to the events, and I tell you, I'm just kidding. I'm not that actually that angry. But yeah, like, keep encouraging players and people who are like, oh, I kind of want to get better. Or even if they're like, oh, I just enjoy this game. Like, dude, you should probably come to a tournament then. You just, like, sit down, and people do ridiculous stuff all the time. And it's usually, like, it's this weird type of player who's like, I'm a casual, but I take winning and losing way too serious, but I don't want to get good at the game. Like, those are the kind of people that I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not going to bring you to a tournament. Like, maybe I'll hold back. One, because like, I don't know. Like, I guess nothing against those kinds of players, but like that is definitely an attitude that can like ruin a tournament experience for a new time player, because it's like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm either looking for victory or just like fun between friends, like, sort of fragile ego, or just like not used to it. I know I definitely had to get used to losing, like, and that's something like a lot of top players are still doing, like being able to cope with losing. And honestly, like, it's not me tooting my own horn, but like I feel super gracious that like I got around that at like a really early point in like my Smash career, is that like losing usually doesn't feel that bad anymore. Like that was the one time, DB Sammy, that was the one time I felt like really bad, and it was how I acted after I lost, not the actual loss itself.
Well, that's the one thing, and I keep saying this over again, when people come here for our tournaments and they face up against a PR player, especially like Chevy or
who's
Aki
Blade-wise? Oh, young boy.
Exactly. So when that happens, and then they come back and they report their score, and I'll say, how'd it go?
Oh, I know what you're about to say. Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, dude, and they'll have that like, sometimes it'll be like a sarcastic kind of happy thing, and then that like they don't really feel too bad about it. But then there's some people, they just feel like they just got dumped on. Yeah. And that's where you got to massage that a little bit. You got to go in. I think as a TO and trying to be someone in, or at least try to take participate in the community on some level to, at least explain to people, but that you're gonna lose. You need to expect it. But you need, as you said earlier, you need to take every loss as a learning experience and figure out where you can go better, or even don't be so shy to not even talk to the other person. Yeah. Especially, who cares if they are a PR person or not? If you're playing a game with them and they're willing to at least spend the time to play with you, at least ask them some questions mid-game, try to figure out what suggestions they can make to you to improve your play.
Yeah, and like a large majority of the players are already really good about that. But like sometimes we don't. We're running through the bracket. We're trying to focus on like the next guy, and like you smash through a dude who's never really played, and you like four stock the hell out of him, and you're just like, all right, I got to move. And like that, I guess this would be my suggestion to players is like take a little bit more time, like. But also watch it. Like that's also kind of frustrating situation because like if someone just lost to you like that, they're in salt stasis. Like it's totally okay to just be like, dude, I should probably leave you alone. But that's player to player. Like some players are just like, dude, I really want to learn, and then there are some players who are like, I just lost, don't talk to me. And it's like you could gain so much if I just told you what's fresh on my mind. Like there are reasons why you lost and that kind of thing.
Well, that's where just. It's that social getting through and social anxiety, trying to figure people out, trying not to be offensive, and
giving everyone their due space, but still being able to engage. And that's what I'm talking about with like TOs. We gotta engage the community more and like get them out, get them out of their shell, get the friends out, and then treat them well too. Like engage them. Like I always felt, it was actually always nice to like talk to you about the game a little bit. It's like. No matter how mad you get, you always want to talk about the game. Like, there are very few times when people are like, no, I just literally don't want to talk about it. And, like, if that happens, it's like, whatever. Okay, yeah, you leave it there. And it's like, T.O., you did your work. That's fine. But, like, after someone's been through that, like, they do want to talk about it. And it's just, like, either to just be like, Game & Watch sucks. Or to be like, yeah, okay, so Sonic has this stuff on me, and I really just got to work around it.
Yeah, I find that when I'm over here at the computer and we have people reporting their scores that sometimes when people lose and they come to report their score, I try to... I try to figure out, and I always say this, I think I've said it every single podcast so far, I always try to figure out, do you know what you did wrong? Did you learn anything from that?
Did you learn anything? Yeah.
Yeah. And it sounds like such a cliche, such a jerk thing to say to someone, especially right after they lost, but it's so important.
Yeah.
Because that is more important than anything. If you're taking the game seriously, that is more important than any of the emotions that you're going through. You need to, figure out a way to deal with your emotions and put them to the side. But you need to really think critically. Was there something that I could have done better, or is there something that that I did wrong that I should stop?
Yeah, doing? And sometimes just even like. Saying it really helps, not gonna lie. Like there's so many times where it's just like and you just keep bottling it up and you're like, just F this character, and then you just say it and you're like, I just really don't like Game & Watch. And then like once you say it, you're like, yeah, I really don't. I should figure out something to do about that.
It's the grievance process. You have the first stage.
So you just need to get it out of the way and talk about it. And like that has honestly been like advice for life. Like just talk about it. That's even like problems with TOs. If you got a problem with a player, like you can just talk about it. Like most of them are so cool and so open to just being like, hey, here's what's going on. Like there's something going on, and like we can't. Like I've had to run in that situation once or twice, and like every player has made me proud. Like just being like, no, okay, this is how I handle it.
Well, isn't that the difficult part though of being a TO, is that you've been through this so long, even as a player, or at least been doing the action for so long, or you've experienced these kinds of things for so long that you start to lose patience for stuff. And so when certain things happen, or things are happening and they shouldn't be happening, or people are saying things, you just want to almost cut them off and be like, look, this is the deal.
This is what's up. Moving on.
But you don't want to be rude.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to, impose yourself just because you don't want to feel like a jerk. And seeing how we're talking about the size of the community, how we're trying to grow it, you don't want to, especially do that kind of stuff to the new players. Yeah. Try to be like, look, guy, like you need to cut it out. Yeah. Because if you do that, you could always potentially have some sort of backlash happen, or anything, and you just don't want that extra drama.
Yeah, and that'll like turn players off from your whole venue in general, and it's just like, I don't want that kind of
hard. It's
situation. So it's definitely something to work on, and like players can always help out with that, because if they're like, no, this is just how the place runs, like there are like a couple places that are at bars you guys used to be over at I'm trying to think, AFK,
yeah,
and like people will watch you and be like, hey man, I think you're drinking a little bit too much. Like most of the players will call you out depending on what you do with that, you know. But a lot of players are like, they're good about that, or they're like, hey, this is actually the rule set for this. Like, hey, actually at this point it's going to be best of 5. Like, or like helping out the stream, like, hey, hang on, wait for him. Okay.
Now, does that also beg the question that maybe as a community in the Pacific Northwest that we need more communication, or figure out better ways for the community to interact with one another, because and also reach out to new players and try to retain them a little bit more? I mean, do you think there's opportunities that we can make there?
Yeah, reaching out to newer players is good, because like regardless of how you look at it, like if someone's going to be playing, like that's just one person in a one-person tournament. It's not a tournament.
Yeah.
And like that's how you get more people coming too, is like the bigger it gets, like literally the bigger it gets. That's like a lot of the other bigger esports that are out there. Like a lot of people go to it because it's like, oh, there's how many people playing it? That's super dope. Like that's honestly the main reason that I went out to these kind of tournaments. I was like, how many people are sitting in their nerd basements and playing Smash Bros? Yeah, I'm gonna go to that. Let's go.
It's the spectacle more than It's the spectacle more than anything.
Yeah.
You know?
So like encouraging that, I think, is important, because I know, like, I've done it plenty of times too. I'm not saying like I'm free from any of this, but there are so many times that we could go to tournaments and we don't, and it's not even something like I'm too busy, I'm not this. There are some times where we're just like, I'm just not feeling it today, and like, I guess to each their own on that end. But like me, to encourage, if you want to improve the community, go. Like it's going to cost you a little bit. It's going to cost you like as much as it would cost if you like ate out that day.
Sure.
Yeah. Like it's not going to cost you much. You're going to interact more. Like that's better for the TOs. It's better for everyone. Like just get more engaged with your community. And if you're not even feeling like playing that much, talk to someone at the tournament. There are so many interesting people at the tournament that you meet, like if I didn't take the time out to talk to like anyone at the tournament, I probably would have stopped playing like a long time ago, just because like Dan was the main reason I was coming out.
It's the community factor.
Yeah, it's really important. And like there are so many cool people. Like I want to shout out to Alex over at the UW. Like I never really got to talk to him too much, but like he would take special time out of like each tournament and make sure to be like, oh hey, yeah, you did really good. Like here's what's up. This is kind of our schedule going through. Like what's up, and like talking about the matchup and like just engaging in a little bit more, and like that does a lot for the community. There's a bunch of like little, I guess, kind of like little ways to do it. Oh, the little
stuff just adds up.
Yeah, sorry, J-Fist just lost to Thunder's Reign, at Game 5. My goodness, that was super close. But yeah, it totally adds up. So like TOs, encourage more people to come out. Players, encourage yourselves to come out more. You're all like super talented, and I want to see you guys play. Even if it's like, oh man, I totally got shit on in this tournament. It's like, yeah, but that was that tournament. You know, that's what, like, that's part of my mentality, and like I'm sure it's top player mentality too, is like there's going to be another tournament. There's always going to be another time for me to prove myself against you. There's always a time for me to dethrone you, like, and that's going to be vice versa. So I got to stay vigilant and be happy with the victories and like not care about the losses.
And I think we've come full circle.
Yeah.
To when you got to your top of the top of your game, and you were like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I want to go and maybe
I want a little bit more casual, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
And I'll still like, I'm not completely done. Like I'm still working on Bowser. Like my Bowser is still, it's pretty good. I'm working with someone on a new character, and of course I always say that.
Why are you coming back to play some tournaments in the future?
But it's like personal goals. It's like I wanted to have a really good Bowser, and now it's like I've always really wanted to have a really good this character.
Sure.
And like now I kind of want to work on it, and it helps me stay engaged with the community. And that's really important to me. Like honestly, like this community is super important to me, and
So we're about 2 hours in.
My God.
So we're going to go and wrap this up. Is there any final words you want to throw out to the community? Give it any shout outs or anything else?
Dude, I have literally too many shout outs. So if I forgot and we've even interacted, like I I can think of like literally 50 names right now where I'm like, I really want to shout you out, but that's too much and too quick. But you're all awesome, and I super love you guys for being in this kind of community. I want you guys to come out more. I want to see all you guys improving. If you ever see me and you're like, dude, I want to get better, let's talk. Like, I will talk to you. If you ever see some, if you're ever just wanting to talk to someone, just like come to the tournament, man. We're waiting for you. Come to ePGs every Thursday at 6 to whenever the hell you want to go home.
Thanks for plugging us. And
and then ESS on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. Come to ESS on Sundays in Bellevue at Jubilee Reach.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, you can always always go on Facebook too. Like, make sure you're watching for those kind of things.
Watch for our weekly spam posts. Everyone gets mad.
Yeah. Like, don't get mad. I'm sorry.
Is there a solution for that? I mean, I don't want to.
God, I wish there was.
I don't want to get back into the.
AutoCal. We should start trying to use AutoCal.
Okay, let's do that, and we'll communicate on Facebook later.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a blast.
Thanks for coming out. And now I think we're gonna enjoy the sunshine just a tiny bit, and
just a tiny bit. Oh, we'll enjoy it. It'll be good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you listen to this 2-hour long podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to sign up and come to Nemesis in July, and look out for ESS or potentially change whatever is going on in ESS. The Arcadian that is coming up in the future as well.
Yeah. Things are happening. Things are happening over at the ESS, and EPG's always got the good crew. So
thanks for listening, guys, and have a good Memorial weekend.
Yeah.
And by the time you hear this, it's after Memorial weekend. So
hope you had a good Memorial weekend.
Weekend. All right. Cheers.
Love you, fam.
Bye.